What's up, everybody? Welcome to Top 3 at 3. My name is Ruel Gaviola, and I want to thank you for joining us today. Shout out to everyone who's hanging out at Comic-Con at home. Thank you for stopping by this little corner of the internet as we hang out and talk board games. I'm looking at the chat. The chat comments are flying by. Thank you all for hanging out, and yeah, I'm super excited today. We've got Paula Deming on deck, and we're going to talk games. We're going to talk about her journey into gaming and content creation. So super stoked that she's here and that you all are here. Before we get started here, I want to take care of some business. All right, some business here. So we've got our tabletop sponsor for the episode. It's Tabletop. There you go. For your board gaming related merchandise and clothing, please visit tabletop.com. I'm rocking my Eurogame shirt today. They're gracious enough to sponsor our show for the next couple of days. So please visit them. And let me see if I can get this logo off my face. I don't know how to do this. Wait. Yeah, this is a professionally run show, as you can tell, folks. There you go. We also have a second sponsor for today. This is my buddy Richard Matney. He runs Board Game Paradise. There it is right there, right over my face. Board Game Paradise. He's a retailer here in Southern California, actually based in Redlands, and he is he sells board games, but I wanted to share this with you as well. He does this amazing, he's a woodworker, right? Again, I need to get this off my face. There it is. Hi. He does these amazing Lazy Susans for board games. So I'm going to share this with you right now. Just give me a second. Let's see. Stop that. I am going to share this screen here. This is number yeah. Okay. So check this out, folks. This is amazing what he does. These are custom built from like solid like wood. He does this all at home. He's I want to say a master craftsman, but when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that's the Lazy Susan. It fully rotates. And let me share one more picture here with y'all. Oh, hi. That was spoiler alert, folks. Yeah. Guess who's on deck, friends? Yeah, we're going to bring Paula in a second. I need to take care of business first. So, Paula, hang tight. Sorry to spoil the surprise, folks, but y'all knew she was coming on anyways, right? I love how professional my show is. So there is the Lazy Susan from Board Game Paradise. Look at that. It holds Ticket to Ride. And again, no more like standing up, walking around the table, trying to find your, spot or just read the map. You just rotate that sucker, right? You rotate it. It fully fits that. I've seen him. He does custom builds. So they're different sizes and, he can custom build it to your specifications. I just got one thanks to our sponsorship. It's amazing. And Andrew says, I would spin that thing and send trains everywhere. I have no self-control. Yeah, I haven't actually used it, Andrew, but I'm probably going to be that guy. So please visit Board Game Paradise, folks. They are on Facebook. I thought I had, there it is right there. Southern California Gamers. Visit Facebook /BG Paradise and talk to Richard and tell him that Ruel sent you, please. Okay. We've done the business part, and I'm happy for the sponsors. Thank you again, sponsors, Tabletop and Board Game Paradise. Folks, Amanda Panda is our chat moderator. Please keep things PG-13, or else Amanda will bust out the ban hammer. She hasn't had to do it yet, and I don't want her to use it, but please keep it PG-13, and let's have some fun, shall we? I'm going to bring on our guest in just a second, but first, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about her. So, in addition to creating the sketch comedy series Things Get Dicey, Paula Deming is also known in the tabletop gaming world for her appearances on the Geek and Sundry series Game the Game, the board game panel show podcast This Game is Broken, and a variety of other series. She is often invited to be a special guest at various conventions focused on board gaming and geek culture. Paula also live streams games, both video games and tabletop, on her Twitch channel and for Gen Con TV. So, yeah, I'm sure most of us are familiar with her. I'm so excited. Folks, let's bring on Miss Paula Deming. Paula. Hi, Paula.
Hello.
How are you?
Wonderful. What an experience to hear an introduction like that read about oneself. I'm like, what? Wow, I sound really like professional.
That reminds me. I need to write something like that for myself too.
You
So
got her. I was like, huh, I did write that for my website, but hearing it read out loud, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool.
it's pretty neat, isn't it?
I'm
Oh,
good. You asked me how I was, and then I rambled. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as well. I'm hanging in there.
Good.
It's this whole Southern California summer thing. It's a real hit and miss with me. Sometimes I can bear it.
Yeah.
Today, it's not that hot, but I don't know why. It's just really annoying me today. Like I just want to, you know.
We're getting to that point in the summer too, where it's just where we're really in like the hottest part of the summer because we're closing in on August and we're gonna
Yeah.
get those 114-degree days. Can't wait for those.
Oh
Can't
yeah.
wait.
Yeah. Fun, right? Gosh. But Paula, I want to thank you again for taking out part of. I know you're busy, and thank you for hanging out with us
Oh,
today
I'm
as
so
we talk
excited
games.
to be here. Thank you
Yeah.
very much for asking me to give my
Absolutely.
opinion on some games.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But first, let's go back to the beginning. You
I
were
was
you
born
yes.
October 30th, 9:23 p.m. No.
Well, maybe we could skip some of that.
Flash forward too.
Right, flash. So you were born with a board game in your hand, correct?
Oh
And
yeah.
um, did you have board games? Were you a board gamer growing up? Did your family have game
Mhm.
nights? How did you get into like before you became a hobby gamer?
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
was
we
that like?
played a lot of board games growing up, but the kind of board games that I'm sure most people have in their house, growing up. As a kid, I had this VHS tape version of Hi Ho Cherry-O, if that's a game anyone's familiar with, where like a puppet guy, I watched the tape and he would tell me, like, flip over the cherry, see if there's a worm, put it in your bucket. I played that by myself a lot. It was my
Oh my
first solo game experience.
wow!
But
I've never heard of that game. That's
yeah, so
amazing.
you can find the video of it on YouTube, I think, that I used to watch,
Okay.
but I know other people who know Hi Ho Cherry-O, but no one else I've ever heard of who had the VHS tape version of the game. So I'll check in the chat in a minute if you know what I'm talking about. Let me know.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, a VHS. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love it.
So but we played a lot of like the Game of Life, Monopoly, Clue was my favorite game growing up, and I still love it. We have an old version of it on the shelf over here somewhere, but I grew up playing my mom's copy of the game, so from like the 60s, probably her copy,
Wow.
which is very worn at this point. But I think that really sparked my love of games, the game Clue, actually, because I'm an actor. And I was always a very imaginative kid. And there was something about Clue that let me feel like I was acting out a story. There's this murder mystery, and sometimes we would play Clue, and sometimes we would play Clue, where we'd act
Oh,
out like, we've arrived at the mansion, and Mr. Body is dead, and now we have to. So that was a thing I always loved to play, even as I got older. And then when we kind of want to talk about getting into the modern version of the hobby, the first game I really played of that was Betrayal at House on the Hill, which, when you think
ah,
about it, is kind of a lot like Clue. You are
yes.
characters going into a house, solving a mystery, figuring a thing out. We played that game, and I was like, this is what board games can be. They can be like a chance for me to embody characters and act out different things, and like I just was like, this, I want more of this.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's interesting that you talk about Clue like that, and Betrayal also has that those chances where you can role play a lot, right? You can
Yeah.
get into characters, so I think
Which I
that's neat.
love, and
That
I will
yeah,
insert into almost any game if I have the opportunity.
really, even like something like checkers or chess or
Oh, well, of course, yes, in chess, you can role play the pawn and the knight and the queen. No.
yeah, true.
People are
Nice.
like, "Why, please, do we have to play with Paula again? She's just gonna monologue the whole time."
It's funny that you talk about how Clue you were role playing and stuff. I remember playing
Mhm,
Clue. I loved it as a kid, but a lot of times to me, maybe it's just I was really young, but I felt like
mhm.
it was a lot of like homework. Like I was writing a lot of things, and I
Mm.
was trying to. I don't remember actually role playing, but I don't. But I do remember taking a lot of notes.
I can see that being the thing, though, because you have that pad of paper, and my
Uh,
sister always took a lot of notes, and she always won. So
Oh, okay.
I was more like randomly, every time it was my turn to like ask, like, who has these cards? I would just like randomly choose cards. I was not paying attention to the strategy of the game.
Right.
But my sister was like taking notes and working out, like, okay, well, if I suggest 3 cards and 2 of them are in my hand, I only have 1 variable. And I was like, wait, that's how you figure out who the murderer is? I realize now that's still how I play games. Strategy is not my strong suit.
Yeah, I think I think I'm right there with you. Like I like to think I'm good at strategy, but I think I'm probably better in my mind than the actual doing of it.
I know that I'm bad at it. I lose a lot of games. I don't win very often.
But it's all about the experience, right?
That's right.
We
Yes,
enjoy
exactly.
playing
Hmm.
games. Yes. We got some comments here. These are making me laugh. Stuff like Kestrel says, "I role play a pawn every day." Legends
Kestrel. Hi,
loves Paula.
Kestrel.
Thank you.
Aw, thank
Uh,
you.
Hi, and yeah, I like playing. Someone says I like playing Doctor Lucky, which is the opposite of Clue. Have you played Kill Doctor
I
Lucky?
haven't played
That
that
one's
one.
it's a really old school game. It
Hmm.
was I think put out by Cheap Ass Games like 20 years ago or
Okay.
so. But it's the reverse. So you're actually trying to kill Mr. Body, right? He's Dr. Lucky.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It
it's
sounds like
fun.
I would like it. I have heard of it. I've just never played it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think with
Hmm.
your role playing skills, you would be excellent at that game. The whole you know.
Yeah. Yes. I see too. Someone said if you like a Game Jedi, if you like the game Clue, try Awkward Guests. I People keep
Yes.
suggesting Awkward Guests to me, and I just haven't been anywhere where a copy of the game exists. So I
Yes.
haven't been able to try yet. But I'm so if you have a copy of Awkward Guests you want to share with a friend, anyone, hit me up. I need to get my hands on it because I really want to try it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to play it once before COVID, the whole COVID shutdown.
Yeah.
My buddy kickstarted it or whatever, and it was excellent. And if you like Clue,
I
you would
really,
definitely like Awkward Guess. Yeah,
I
it's
really,
like
because yeah,
yeah.
I have a game, Mystery at the Abbey,
Oh
Mystery
yeah,
of the Abbey, which we got pretty early in our collection, basically, because it was like, oh, this is like Clue. The only problem with it is it's a little, I feel like there are few too many variables that you're trying to figure out in that game.
yes.
And so it's very easy for human error to cause you to go completely off the rails with what you think the answer is.
Hmm.
Um, but it's close. It's close to scratching that Clue itch for me.
Yes, I remember I've played Mystery of the Abbey once, and I was terrible at it, just like Clue. But like you said, I think yeah, there's so many variables. I was like
Hmm.
lost. I think half the time, and
There's a lot because you have to figure out, are they like skinny or fat? Are they bearded or not bearded? Are they young or old? Are they
yep.
Benedictine or, and it's just a one too many thing,
Right,
I think.
right.
But
Yes. Amanda Pano mentioned that Board Game Geek. I want to thank Board Game Geek for gifting 10 subs. That's so generous of you. Thank you so much.
that's
Um,
awesome.
normally on our Tabletop Tonight show, folks, at 7:30 daily, my family and I, whenever there's a gift subs, we do all these wacky things. But today's top 3 at 3, I want to keep the focus on our guest here, Paula Deming. So come back at 7:30, we'll do the wacky stuff, and actually well, I'll talk about that more later. Let's talk about Paula. We got Paula here. We got to talk to Paula.
I like
um
wacky things.
yeah, wacky. So well, I've got my rating hat. I'll
Oh
put it
yes,
on.
I've seen this
Yeah,
rating hat. I do like it.
yeah. So that's whenever someone raids, we put that on, folks. So that's one of the wacky things. So Paula, getting in a betrayal house on the hill, was that just a random game night at a friend's house, or
So it was actually my now husband. At the time, we were just dating, and it was the first Thanksgiving I spent with his family. And so it was after the meal, and we were hanging out with his brother and his brother's wife. And my husband said, "Oh, we should play a game. Let me pull out." And he already had, I mean, he'd played games. So he already had some games, not as many as we have now. He pulled out Settlers of Catan and we played that. And I honestly remember very little about it. It's the only time I've played it. And then he pulled out Betrayal and we played that, the 4 of us. And that really is what hooked me.
were you the traitor? Did you end up being the
I
traitor?
was the traitor and we
Ah,
won. So that may have helped.
nice, nice.
It's just one of those games that when it works well, it works so well.
Yeah,
And when
yeah,
it doesn't, it really it doesn't. But
yeah.
we don't
You're
need
right.
to we don't need to get into that. But
Yeah, yeah,
and
true.
then from there it was just then I was totally open to like, oh, should we play some other games? Well, let's try this. Let's try this. And then we kind of enabled each other
That's a great word,
in our
enabling.
habit.
Yes, the habit. And folks, if you haven't seen it, please check out Things Get Dicey. Her Paula's latest video is so on point. You can you talk about that the latest? Like I just
Yeah.
think is it 183? Was that the number from the video? 180?
183 games, which is
Yes.
actually not how many I have. I just thought it might be a good number to use. So
Okay.
for those of you who may not be familiar, I make a sketch comedy series called Things Get Dicey, which is sketch comedy about the board game hobby. You can find it on YouTube if you just type in Things Get Dicey. You should find it, but yesterday I put out my latest video, which is a vlog, where I'm trying to cull my collection. So I'm trying to get rid of games in my collection, and it's difficult, is what I'll say,
Yes.
to get rid of games. And yes, in that I count my games. I say I have 183. I think I actually have closer to 150.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't think that. I thought the number should be a little higher for the video.
It's for the show, right? Right.
Hmm.
I think it's funny because all your videos. I mean, this is what I love about your videos, Paula. Like, I mean, first of all, they're funny, right? They're funny, but they
Thank
really
you.
hit. They really hit on these universal board gaming truths. And yesterday, like, I watched the entire calling video, and it just really, like, I was like, oh, this is like right in my gut, right here. How do I call
Yeah.
things? And yeah, I'm at that
It's
point where it's like
hard
it's
to
tough.
get rid of things. We've actually gotten rid of, I think, one game. One game. And I culled it by giving it to my niece and nephew.
Okay, that's a
So
good thing,
I can still play it, and
right?
it was just our copy of Forbidden Island that was one of the first games we added to our collection, and we just sort of felt like we had solved it, but it would work so well, especially as a cooperative game for my kids,
Yes.
my niece and nephew as kids to play with their parents. And so we played it with them and then left it with them. That's the only thing I've been able to get rid of. And that barely even counts.
I love it. It's like I do the same thing with my nieces and nephews. Like like I'll give them games, and it's like I still get visitation rights. It's like, oh
That's
yeah, we'll
right.
go over there. Yeah, let's play a game. Oh gee, you have that game I gave you.
Sometimes I buy them games that I want. Like I got
Oh,
them
I love it.
Super Rhino Hero Super Battle, Super
Oh
Rhino
yeah,
Hero. You know what I'm talking about.
yes.
Uh, and every time I visit them now, I'm like, so we should like play that Rhino game, right?
It's so funny because I've done the same thing, and like I'll go there and like I'll see it. It's still like in the packaging and stuff. It's like still in the
I'm like,
plastic. Right?
oh,
It's like,
it's like
oh,
let's
guys.
just I'll just punch this for us. I'll learn the rules. You can play it. I'll play by myself. It's fine.
Yeah, totally. So, Paula,
uh,
so we, you've gotten into board games at this point. Where do you go? How do you go from just playing games to actually making content? Like, how'd you get inspired to do that?
yeah.
Yeah, how'd that all come about?
Well, great question. So I've been playing games for a while, a long time. And I was watching more board game content, and I was watching a lot of Shut Up and Sit Down, and mostly because I enjoy the comedy of that series. And I started thinking to myself as I was watching more things, I was like, this is interesting because I know that women play games. Our game group is like 50-50 when it comes to men versus women versus. Uh, and I wasn't seeing a lot of women represented in the board game media that I was consuming. And I just kind of was feeling like I wanted to do something that just showed like, hey, we play games. And I went to my first convention, and I thought it would be like a 60-40 split, and it was more like, honestly, probably like 75-25 split.
Mhm.
And I was just like, why aren't more of us here? Again, I know we're playing games. So I just want to make something that just shows like, hey, women play games. And it doesn't need to be like, hey, women play games. I just wanted to be visible.
Yes.
And I thought, well, I don't want to make review videos because a ton of people are already doing that. And I didn't feel like I could add anything particularly interesting to that conversation. And I also felt like, well, I don't have a journalistic background, and you don't necessarily need one. But for me, I felt intimidated by it. And then I thought, well, you know what? I'm an actor. I do a lot of improv. I love sketch comedy. We're always making jokes about games while we're playing games. What if I just do a couple little videos that are like sketches about playing board games? And I did. So I did the first one, and I was like, maybe if this gets 500 views. Look, I've been in a lot of web series. I'm an actor trying to make it in Los Angeles. I've been in a lot of web series that 100 people have watched. So I was like, I'm going to make a thing, and maybe if 500 people will watch it, I'll be excited. And more than that watched it. I couldn't believe
Nice.
it, actually. The first video, I was like, oh. And so I was like, I guess I should keep making these. And so I did.
Nice. And
uh,
it's I
yeah.
mean I love that, because I've talked about this before, and people have talked about what representation matters.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see it, and I know there's people watching, there's younger viewers as well watching. They're going to see you, especially maybe little girls, and say, hey, they're going to come up one of these days and make their own videos. I mean, do you know the
Yeah.
Cardboard Kid, by the way? Do you know the Cardboard
I
Kid?
don't know them personally, but I am aware of. Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and she's it's a 10-year-old making like
It's really
review
cool.
videos, and she's
It's really
awesome.
cool.
Like, yeah, it's so again, I think it's inspiring that you're able to do this and
Mhm.
continue doing it and do it well.
Thank
Not
you.
yeah. So well, thank you for all the amazing content. Yeah, so friends, again, we're here with Paula Deming. We are going to be talking about some games. This has been her journey from playing games and going into modern board gaming and then getting into content creation. Please check
Mhm.
her out at Things Get Dicey. Paula, let's talk about some games.
Let's do it. Let's
Okay,
talk about some.
we're going to do our top 3 games we didn't like. Oh wait, our top 3 games we didn't think we'd like but ended up liking a lot. And I love this title. It's like
I was gonna say this title. I'm sure we could have come up with something
I thought of
pithier.
yeah, I thought of something, but then when I typed it all out, it was just so long and crazy. I was like, I got to keep it. This is so silly. Oh man. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've got just knowing what we have on our list here. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun. So I'm gonna start off, Paula, and then
Mhm.
friends in chat, if you have any games that you thought you didn't like but you ended up liking a lot, please drop them in chat and we'll see what's up. We'll see if we can talk about those as
Yeah.
well. I'm gonna start with some honorable mentions. I've got 2 of them: The Search for Planet X and Dude. So I'll start with Dude first. This is
I'm not familiar with this game,
okay,
dude.
Dude. There's one thing it's from, I think, North Star Games. You have a deck of cards.
Mhm.
Every single card says Dude on it, but they're in different
Dude.
Dude, and they're in different fonts.
Dude.
Yes, Dude, or the one with the question mark,
Dude.
Dude. Yeah. So what you do, it's a real-time game. You just look at a card and you're trying
Mhm.
to match with people, and the first person to play all their cards wins the game.
Oh, fun.
It's so silly. It's dumb, but it's dumb fun. I love it. It's
Mhm.
so again, I heard the premise. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna like
You're
this
like, I'm
game.
not
It's
gonna like this.
yeah. I was like, I'm a gamer, right? No, I loved it. It's so much fun. So we still played as like a little filler with friends
Mhm.
and game nights and stuff like that. But that is one of my honorable mentions. The other one I'd like to bring up, and this sort of ties back into the whole Clue thing: The Search for Planet X. Have you played this
Mhm.
one yet,
I
Paula?
haven't.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
this is a deduction game, and I love the theme. I'm like I like science and sci-fi stuff, and this one totally hooked me in with the theme, but I am
Mhm.
so bad at this game. I haven't even come close to winning. Like so you're trying to find Planet X, right? It's a
Mhm.
hidden game. You deduce using science, and it's like Clue. You get a piece of paper and you write notes and stuff. It's amazing. But you use an app. The app is the one
Mhm.
hiding Planet X, and
Oh,
you can play it.
cool.
Yeah, you can play it solo. You can play it with up to 4 players. But yeah, slowly but surely, every turn you're trying to deduce, and you get one little piece of information each turn, and you sort
Mm.
of have to watch what everyone's doing, and you can sort of figure out where Planet X is. Well, supposedly, I can never find
You're
it,
like,
but
I haven't figured it
yeah,
out yet. Ooh, I might need to
I think it's right up your
look
alley.
into this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can
'Cause,
totally
like, I
roll.
played Cryptid, and I really
Yes.
liked that, and it sounds kind of like a similar thing.
Yeah, Cryptid was another good one. I can see you playing Planet X and totally like role playing like a scientist or
Oh, yeah.
astronomer. It's like, yeah, you totally get into it. Daryl with the 1 hour. Thank you. Real streams on Planet X helped me convince. I hope you're liking it, Daryl.
Oh,
It's
nice.
a fantastic game. But I'm so bad at it. Um, Barbara says that dude, so great. There are two versions actually. Yes, I haven't played the second one yet, but that adds in more ways you can say dude. Like you can say it like a robot, dude, or you can say it.
And so you're matching how other people are saying it.
Yes,
And that's how you know
so
you have a match.
right, and the thing
Mm.
is, like you point at each other, like you say dude,
Mhm.
like, and then if you
Dude.
point right, and then you flip over the cards if they're the same. Yeah, I think you say sweet or something like that. Like
Sweet. Oh
sweet,
my
yeah.
gosh, that sounds hilarious.
It's so much fun. It's so silly, but it's so fun. But yeah, those are my two games I didn't think I'd like, but I ended up liking a lot. Those are two honorable mentions.
Mhm.
Paula, you have some games as well on your list.
I do have a couple of honorable mentions to start out with. I'll start with the one that I have next to me here, which is it's huge, it's giant. Space Hulk.
Space Hulk. Oh my gosh.
Classic game, but like a reprint of it. So I didn't think I was going to like this game, and I'll just talk about it briefly because it's an honorable mention because I already have a lot of dungeon crawlers, and it's a dungeon crawler, and it's in the 40K universe, which I'm like so on.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe with the Space Marines, it's a very kind of complicated strategy and how they function, and I thought I'm not gonna like this. I don't need it in my collection. We already have dungeon crawlers, but my partner really wanted it, so we got it, and I have such a good time playing this game. I always plays the Gene Stealers, and it's just this two-player kind of dungeon crawl. It's not really a dungeon crawl, but it reminds me of that
Uh-huh.
type game. And I just have a really good time with it. I like it a lot, and I was like, okay, tell me how to play. And now I'm like, I mean, we could play Space Hulk though. So yeah.
Have you played any like no, you said it was a set in the Warhammer world, correct?
Yeah.
Have you played any of the miniatures games like that, Warhammer or
We have Warhammer Underworlds, which is
Mhm.
like a skirmish game. So simpler than like Kill Team, which is I guess simpler than 40K.
Mhm.
But and I really like Underworlds a lot. But I haven't anything with like more than like 6 people I need in my little army is a little more than I need. And I really
Mhm.
enjoy playing another miniatures game. We play Frostgrave, which I like a lot.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So I've been into that.
Cool. I've always
Yeah.
been sort of hesitant to go down that rabbit hole because I just, I feel like I would get into it and just my wallet would just fly away.
It
Like,
can be the overhead
yeah.
on a miniatures game like that can be quite a lot. But that's why something like Warhammer Underworlds is nice because it's a little box set and it comes with like the 6 figures you're gonna need, and you can snap them together. You can paint them or not, and then you're ready to go. And that's all you need to play is what's in that box. You can get expansions or other factions, but you don't need to keep expanding your army. And so
Okay.
that's, I think, kind of a more accessible way to get into something that's a little bit, miniaturesy
Right.
game.
Cool.
Hmm.
All right. So Space Hulk, nice.
Yeah, and my other one is Terror Below, and this
Yes.
is just because I thought I wasn't gonna like pick up and deliver game. Like
Oh, okay.
when you hear about that mechanism, I was always like, really? That sounds so boring. Like, so I just like go here, I pick up a thing, and then I take it over there and I drop it off. Okay, sure. No, I don't need to play a game like that. That sounds boring. But then I played Terror Below and I was like, this is actually very satisfying.
Yes.
I
Yes.
should have given this mechanism like more of a chance because I actually really enjoyed the game, and I really like going to the place, picking up the eggs, taking them, dropping them off. I'm like, I've accomplished something. Um, so that's why I chose that one.
Absolutely. I mean, it is Tremors, the board game,
Yes,
right?
it
Like,
is.
have you? I've only seen the original Tremors. I might have seen the sequel, but I haven't. I know
I've
there's like
only
five.
seen the original, and it
Yeah,
is an amazing movie.
yeah, right.
It's
And yeah,
ridiculous.
and don't they? Do they have like a series now, or is it just a series of movies that they have? I don't
There's a
remember.
bunch of movies. There may have been a short-lived TV show, but I don't think it's airing like right now. I don't know
Hmm.
actually.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Terror Below, folks. It's yeah, I was surprised by that game too. I don't know if I was just I just thought Tremors. I mean, I know it's not the official Tremors license, but I just thought Tremors like, okay, yeah, whatever. But then when I
Yeah,
actually played, I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And
like this is a lot of fun, and it doesn't hurt that the production value on it is so good.
yes.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. And so, are there any other pickup? So, was this your first pickup and delivery game that
Mhm.
you played? Okay. And have you
Yeah.
gone on from there to play any other pickup and delivery?
Not really. I haven't. This is still probably the only one that I've like really like played. But now I'd be open to it. Before I'd kind of be like, maybe let's play something else. That doesn't sound like an interesting thing to have in a game to me. Now I'd be like, okay, well maybe I would play that.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice. So it could be your gateway to other pickup
it
and delivery.
is.
Nice.
Yes.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Cool. Friends, thank you again for joining us. We are talking about our top games that what was it? Top 3 games that
Top 3 games we thought we wouldn't like, but actually we do.
we do. Yes. My number 3, let's get to the official list. My number 3 is Baseball Highlights 2045. Now, I'm a
I
baseball.
also don't think I would like this game, so I'm curious to hear.
Okay. Yeah. So, are you a baseball fan, Paula?
I like to eat hot dogs and drink beer and sing during the seventh inning
Yes.
stretch.
You're halfway. This game's for you then, for sure. Because that's exactly how I play it. I crack open a beer, grill a hot dog, and yeah.
Then-
This game. So I'm a baseball fan. I'm a Dodgers fan. By the way, the
Mhm.
Dodgers are 1-0 right now, folks. They just won their home opener. Go
Wow.
Dodgers! Yes, we beat the Giants. And this game, I haven't seen too many board games that are really good in as far as like sports games go, like sports
Mhm.
translations. I know maybe this is just from my childhood. I played some baseball and football and basketball board games, and they were
Mhm.
just bad, right?
Yeah.
And but this one, it's a deck builder, and it's
Hmm.
fantastic because what it does, Paula, is it takes you have your team members, right? You have
Mhm.
each player is represented by a card, and that's your team, but you play exactly 6 cards and that represents the entire game. And what's crazy,
Hmm.
it totally feels like an entire baseball game in like,
Interesting.
yeah. So it's like you play a card, you can hit, you can pitch and all this stuff, and the interaction is really cool back and forth. And
Mhm.
after you play one game, you play like the World Series, right? It's a best 4
Mhm.
out of 7. After each game, you're going to discard some cards or send them to the minors, and you
Mm.
recruit new powerful cards, the free agents, to your team. So it improves your team as you're going along, and each game your team's getting better and better. So that's like the deck building aspect of
Mhm.
it. This game works so well.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's a great solo game. So if you're thinking about it, folks, solo game for these times of social distancing, this is a great game to do. And I
Huh.
think it's best at 2 players. It's the perfect head-to-head game. Yeah,
Interesting.
and I think the biggest selling point is I have a good friend of mine, my buddy Daryl, that plays game with. He's not a baseball fan, but
Mhm.
we played this and he absolutely loved it. And we're always trying to play games of this together.
Do
So,
you know? I wonder if this is on like Tabletopia or
oh,
I'll
this
have to
might,
look.
yeah, for sure. Check
That
it
would
out.
be fun to play. Yeah, so for me, like I like deck builder, so this actually sounds like maybe I would like it. It's
Yes,
just I also am kind of like, oh, a sports theme.
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know why, but I tend to like kind of stay away from them in my board games. But
Mhm.
sounds like maybe I should give them a chance.
I would highly recommend this one because it's sports, but then it's a futuristic sports. So
Hmm.
on the
Oh, I guess
team,
because it is 2045.
right? So it's cool. They have not only the human players, but then they have cyborgs who have like bionic
Oh,
arms,
cool.
and then full on robots. So and it's cool because each one specializes in something else, and you can build your deck to
Hmm.
on those strengths and weaknesses. So it's a game I didn't think I'd like, but it's honestly probably top 5 deck builder for me. Absolutely loved
You've
it.
convinced me. You've
Awesome.
convinced me to give it a shot.
Awesome. That's great. All right, folks. So, friends, let's move on. That was my number 3. Let's go on to Paula's number 3. After she's go ahead and go to your website, order baseball highlights, and we'll give you a second here. And
Yeah, let me just hold on. Let me
right.
find it here. Cool. Yeah, so my number 3 is role player.
Yes.
This is another one. This is how a lot of this list is going to go for me, where I have to tell you, I saw this in a game shop a couple of years ago, and at first I was like, oh, ooh, like a D&D game. And because, I like role playing. And I was like, ooh, cool, cool, cool. And then I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute. It's just like a euro about making your character. You don't actually get to play with your character. Meh, boring. I feel terrible that I am totally a person who judges a book by their cover. I was like, whatever. And I just like poo-pooed it. Like I heard people talking about it and I have friends who really liked it. And I was like, whatever. And then someone said to me, well, it's like dice manipulation, right? And I was like, no, I didn't know that. And I loved dice placement, dice manipulation. I was like, actually, maybe I would like this. And then I played it recently on Tabletopia. There's a great script for it on Tabletopia.
Oh, cool.
And I really liked it a lot. And I was like, oh, I robbed myself of joy because I convinced myself that this theme was boring when it absolutely isn't.
Right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I really enjoy role player and the puzzle you're solving with the dice, and it's so tight and it gets really tense, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Like when I first heard of it, it's like, yeah, it's okay, you're building a character, yay, but it's just whatever. But then have you actually played the expansion, Monsters vs. Minions, I
I
think it's
haven't.
called?
I've heard that it's really good, and hearing what it is makes it
Yeah.
sound really interesting. I'd really like to try it with the
Yeah.
expansion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the part where you actually use your character to fight monsters. So that's, it's like the next level. I mean, it's still role player, but it
Yeah,
adds that
I'd
element. Yeah.
probably like it. And now, like, the whole universe is great. I mean, cartographers, but I thought I would like it, and I do. And
Okay.
role play adventures, I thought I would like, and I do. That's
Okay.
also on Tabletopia. Check out the first chapter if you're interested. I think that
Yeah.
Kickstarter's already done, but not that they're not sponsoring this. I'm just getting excited about it.
It's true love. It's not sponsored love.
I just am excited, but role player.
Awesome. Yes. I'll move on. So my number 2, I'm going back to the sports theme. I don't know why, but I didn't think I would like Flamme Rouge. I'm not a bike. I mean, I like riding bikes, but I'm not one to watch the, Tour de France or any competitive thing. But Flamme Rouge is a fantastic racing game. It's, you have like stuff like Downforce is a good racing game. Back in the day, there was Formula D. I like that. But Flamme Rouge to me is the one I always bring to game nights where new players, it's very easy to explain. It's just a hand management game. You're just playing cards and moving your little bicyclist. But there's strategy to it too, because you want to line up your bicyclist in the right spots to take advantage of certain conditions. And it plays in 30 minutes. You can play up to, I think, like 6 or 8 players.
Pretty good.
It really is. It's so smooth. It's super easy, and the expansions add just enough to make it a little more interesting for gamers, but it doesn't overwhelm you. So yeah, Flamme Rouge. I like riding bikes, but I'm not one to strap on a helmet and get all I don't know who's the famous bicyclist, Lance Armstrong. I'm not the type to do that. Yeah, and I don't take PEDs. So
what about an important distinction.
What about you, Paula? Have you? I don't know if you're a bicyclist or if you've played Flamme Rouge or interested in a type of game like that. No. Okay.
No. Well, I am interested in Flamme Rouge because mostly I've heard good things about it. I've not actually played it, but again, it's that thing where at first I go, well, I could play a board game about riding bikes, or I could just go ride a bike. Yeah. And I think that's why I tend to like push away from sport themes, is because I go, if I want to play football, I'll just go play football. Not that I'd play real football. I'd just like toss a ball in the backyard with friends or something.
Yep.
But that's kind of a silly way to be viewing this stuff. It's like, I don't know. I guess because it feels like I could be participating in this activity, not with a board game. I can't like do an art heist in real life, so I play a board game about it. Yeah, not that I want to do an art heist, let's be clear, if the authorities are watching.
Right.
I don't make my own wine, but I can play viticulture,
Yes.
And so I think it's like, well, if I could do this in real life, why play a game about it? But that's kind of a fallacy, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I think that way.
But again, we're all drawn to different themes, in games. So, and that's the great thing about board games these days. There's just so many out there, that we're never going to play. But no matter what your fancy is, there's something out there.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my number 2, Flamme Rouge. Let's move on. Paula, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is right here.
Oh, you're getting the box. Cool. You totally came prepared. Thank you.
1775. You can see my ring light reflecting in all these boxes. 1775, the American Revolution. Now, there's also 878 Vikings, which is also really great. But I played this first, so I knew I would probably like 878 Vikings. So 1775 was kind of my first foray into, well, other than Memoir 44, like war games. And now I'm not saying 1775 is really a war game, but it is about a war, and you have different territories you're controlling, and there's some randomization. You're rolling dice for combat, and you're moving things around. You can play it at 2 players, you can play it at 4 players. And at first I went, I just am not interested in war games or war adjacent games. I see a lot of, I'm just very like I'm a visual theme first person. And when I look at what I think of as a war game, I go, blah, because, it's
Yeah.
like
Hexes
beige
and
hexes and
beige.
cardboard
Yep.
chits, and they're all stacked on each other, and my eyes kind of glaze over.
Yep.
So I did not think that I would like this game. But this game is actually, one, it doesn't look like, it's actually really nice. The map is
Mhm.
nice. It uses little cubes instead of like cardboard chits, and it's not the same.
Yep.
It's you've got a hand of cards. It's not really like a traditional war game. But I just like it so much. It's so strategically interesting.
Yes.
And I played, one of the most memorable gaming experiences I have is actually playing this game. We're
Oh.
playing a 4-player game, and so you're on basically teams of 2. And every turn, basically the pendulum swung to the other side of like, okay, well, this turn, I'm pretty sure we're winning. And then the next turn, I was like, oh my gosh, we're losing. And the next turn, I was like, oh wait, I think we're winning. And the next turn, I was like, oh my gosh, we're losing. It was down to the wire. And that's the kind of experience I feel I get out of the games in this particular series. And so I really liked it, but I thought it was going to be boring.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it isn't.
It isn't. Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I played 1775 as well. I've only played 2-player, and I love the 2-player experience.
good.
But one cool thing too that I really enjoy, I appreciate the game. It's got all the history on there. Like you're actually
Yeah.
learning American history,
Mhm.
about this event. And to me, it was really interesting. I liked how like the Native American faction played. Like they could go to either side,
Yeah.
right? Which is fascinating
Mhm.
to me. It's again, it's really yeah, I guess it would be like a gateway war game, I guess,
Yeah, kind of ease
perhaps.
you into the theme, the style, the strategy before you dive really into the more complicated, like,
Yes.
stuff about, are you in difficult terrain, and are you
Mhm.
intimidated, or how's your morale, or what's the weather
Right.
doing, or what's
Right.
the line of sight? Are you in
The
a
line of
It's
sight.
just like
Yeah.
a lot to think about.
Yeah. Every time I hear line of sight, my head just starts going, "Oh, dude," I get like a headache. It's like, "Oh my god." But yes,
I've had so many
1775.
arguments about line of sight. I'm like, "Well,
Really?
I can see." And they're like, "Well, but the character can't. If you get down on the level," and I'm like, "Well,
Oh, it's line of sight, folks. It's so true. Yes, great choice, Paula.
yeah, I like it a lot."
Yeah, I do too. Great game. So let's move on to our number ones, folks. This is it. The creme de la creme. These are the games that we didn't think we'd like, but we end up liking a lot. My number one, and this is, again, I was sort of thinking about what you said about judging a book by its cover. This
Mhm.
one I looked at, I was like, there's no way I'm going to like The Castles of Burgundy. This,
Oh,
yeah,
yes. I have
like,
also stayed away from it because 'cause I'm like,
oh,
dry Euro, right?
yeah, dry Euro with like all beige colors. And thing is, and people know, most people know this, but I have red green color blindness, and every single
Mm,
one of Stefan Feld's games is brutal for anyone that has red green color blindness. It's brutal, and it's so sad because
yeah.
he makes awesome games, and this one I absolutely love, especially for 2 players, because at the 4-player count it could be a little AP inducing, but or
Mm,
it's just no, not AP. The downtime can be a lot, but
great, yeah.
2 players, it's on point. It's a point
Mhm,
salad. You have dice, but you have a ton of ways to, well, you have a lot of ways to mitigate the dice. So
mhm.
you're laying tiles, you're scoring points basically every move. It's a lot of fun. I
Cool.
absolutely love Castle Burgundy,
I have
and
to try it.
I highly
I really
recommend it,
do.
Paula. Yeah, I
Now,
highly
is the new
recommend it.
edition, a better color scheme or a worse color scheme? Have you seen it?
I've seen it online, and again, this just seeing it online, it didn't do much for my eyes. I was
Yeah.
like, well, it's still, and if friends at publishing companies hire me because I'll be your consultant, like all you have to do to get rid of a lot of color issues, put a little icon, a unique
I was gonna
icon.
say, I just
That's
played, what game was it? I was just playing a game and I can't remember now, but the cards were different colors and even I was having a little hard time telling some of them apart. And then we realized they had symbols on them.
yep.
And you could, shoot, now I can't remember what it was, but it was like, oh, that's how I know. Oh, it was Rap Gods. That's
Oh
what it
yeah,
was.
yeah. Rap
Because then
gods.
the
Yeah.
colors, and then
Yep.
they'll have like a symbol, like GR. Oh, that's the green card. Oh,
Exactly.
Y, that's the yellow card. Yeah. It just,
Yeah. That's a perfect example because if I would have played Rap Gods without those little symbols, there's no way I could play it because the
yeah.
colors are just too close to me
Mm-hmm.
for my eyes. But yeah, just all it takes, folks. That's all it is. And
Oh.
Castle Burgundy, how I've written about this before on I think on Geek and Sundry. I would just handwrite on certain pieces like this is green or this is
Interesting.
blue. Yeah, and you do what you got to do to make it playable. But Castle Burgundy, I didn't think I'd like it because it's reputation, but it's one of my easily top 15 games of all time.
Wow.
Castle Burgundy. So
I've
good,
got to
Paula.
try it. I
Please,
think
yeah.
hearing more about it and the way my taste in games has evolved over time, I think I probably would like it. Yeah.
I think so too, and that's the perfect point. You said how your tastes evolve as you get more into the hobby. At the start of the hobby, I had heard about it, I was like, yeah, whatever. But as the years went by, I was like, okay, I've got to try it. And when I eventually did, it's like, oh no, I've spent the last 5 years of my life missing out on this game.
Right?
But
You've robbed yourself of joy.
exactly. So, Paula, what is your number
What
one
is
game?
my number one game? Now, when I'm always on a lookout for good two-player games. And there's one that kept getting talked about in reviews and top 10s about two-player games. And I just kept going, you know what? This seems boring. All of them, I'm like, this seems boring. It's just set collection. Well, if I'm gonna play set collection, I could just like play I just pull a regular deck of cards out and play anything. Why would I buy a specific game for? Look, I was wrong about Lost Cities.
Yes.
I had heard so much about how good it was, and I really was like, I don't like whatever. So, and then look, I tried it. I played this for the first time with Matthew Jude, and I got to tell you, this game is so fun. It gets so tense and push your luck, and you're like, do I play the card down now, or do I wait because I might pull and then I might get the next? Like I could play the 6, but what if I play the 6 and then I pull the 5 and then I'm going to be mad? Or do I double my luck on this, or do I not? Like, do I play it safe? Do I not? Do I hold on to this card in my hand because I know they want it?
Yes. Oh,
and it just like creates such moments where you're like get mad at the other person, and then you're like, oh, and like I like it so much, and it's like quick, and Knizia,
he's the man.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it's a loose theme. Let's be real. It's a Knizia game. They all are. But
right.
it just, I don't know what it is. It's just such a tight, strategic. I get stressed out playing it, but in a good way.
Yeah. So good, folks. Yes. It's like you said, every single turn, like I don't want to give up this card, but I have to, or else they're gonna,
every turn feels like a difficult decision.
Yes.
Of like when to play and what to play, and can I extend the game by drawing from the middle instead of drawing from the deck, or do I want to end the game so I'm going to draw from the? It's just there's a lot more strategic considerations you need to make other than just set collecting, and it works really well. And I really thought I just didn't. I had no interest in playing it.
Yeah.
And then Matthew Jude talked me into trying it, and here we are. Now I own it.
Yes. Awesome.
Now I own it.
Knizia is so good at that whole low rules overhead, but a lot of strategic depth behind his games. I love the fact that he does that. It's most of his games you can teach, it doesn't take a 20-page rule book, but there is so much depth to his games. But what a great choice, Paul. That is a fantastic game. Yes.
Thank you.
And friends, that is it. We have talked about the top 3 games that we didn't think we liked, but end up liking a lot. I want to thank my guest, Paula Deming. Paula, thank you again for hanging out. And
Thank you
I
for
mean,
having me. It was so
yeah,
fun.
you're awesome. That's all I'm going to say.
Aw,
You're
well,
awesome.
you are awesome.
Thank you. I'm going to put down this here. Find Paula on the internet, folks, at Paula Deming and at Things Get Dicey, and also her YouTube channel, Paula Deming. Is there anywhere else I need to, you'd like to mention, Paula?
If you're interested in watching me, I mentioned Matthew Jude. If you're familiar with him or not, you can watch us play board games together here on Twitch, on the Gen Con TV Twitch channel. And somewhere in their VODs, you can actually find a stream of us playing Role Player. If you're interested in the game and seeing how it works, you can actually watch us play it. So I do that with them on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific. No, 1:30 p.m. Pacific is when I stream with Gen Con. So check that out if you like to watch live board game playthroughs.
Awesome. Thank you. And friends, I want to thank you all for joining us. I hope you're having a great Comic Con at home, and stay tuned. Well, stay tuned for the next thing on BGG, but also come back at 7:30 tonight, 7:30 Pacific. My wife, Michelle, and our daughter, Lauren, we're going to be playing, we're going to be streaming for the 100th time. This is our 100th episode.
Amazing.
Crazy, right? Since March 18th, when COVID hit,
gosh.
we've been streaming almost nightly. So episode
100
100,
days.
we were going to play a couple of different games, and we're also going to be giving away games, folks. So come on in, hang out with us. Paula talked about some of the silliness we do. We're going to do even more silliness tonight. So come back and join us. I want to thank again our guest, Paula Deming. Folks, please follow her. She's amazing. And Paula, thank you.
Thank
Friends,
you.
thank you. And we will see y'all next time. Take care, everybody. Bye now.
Bye.